Hi guys, welcome to Money by Sunny. Today, we'll be talking about the cash envelope budget method. This can be a great solution, especially if you're operating with limited funds and need a bit of help ensuring that personal bills are paid and are on time. It's an inexpensive way to manage finances by relying only on cash that is on hand. With the assistance of cash envelopes, the process of managing money each month is made easier, as it is divided into category-specific envelopes, which require a stricter budget. If you're considering trying out this budget method, you've come to the right place, as we'll cover a description, as well as the pros and cons, so you can make a better decision. How does the cash envelope method work? The cash envelope method was created many years ago, but it was more recently popularized by Dave Ramsey, who is a well-known US-based financial guru and personality. The concept is pretty basic. Each month, you take all your net income and divide it into specific money envelopes. Each of these envelopes are only for the purpose of one category of your budget, for example, groceries. And you can spend only up to the amount that is in that particular envelope. You can't take money out of one envelope to put it in another, even if the first envelope is empty. This helps to enforce discipline with money by holding onto the cash until there is an immediate need to purchase something. Now that we know what it is, let's go through the main steps in setting up a cash envelope budget. Step 1. Identify income. Like all budget types, we have to start with revenue or income. To do this, list out your income or take-home pay, which should include your regular paycheck, plus all your side hustles. You can use last month's total income or an average of the last few months as a gauge, in the event that your income is variable. Remember that this should be your net income and not gross, meaning your income after deductions such as tax and any other statutory payments. Step 2. Identify expense categories and amounts. Now it's time to list out in detail the expense categories that your cash will be split into. These would typically be items like groceries, clothing, electricity, healthcare, and so on. When you first start off with this method, it's best to identify your categories as specifically as possible, so that there's less chance of overspending on a particular category. For example, don't have one large category for food. Split this out into groceries and eating out, so that it's clearer and there is less opportunity for your spending to overlap between these two categories. This step is a lot easier to implement if you already have a reasonable idea of how much you spend on each category. If not, take some time to think back to your previous month's expenses to see if you can get a rough feel of these figures. Of course, your expenditure should not exceed your net income. In fact, it should be less so that there is money left for savings. Step 3. Prepare the envelopes and fill them with cash. Once you have your categories set up along with the corresponding amounts, it's time to get the envelopes ready. You can do this by using regular white envelopes and simply labeling them by category. Or if you prefer something more visual, you can color code the envelopes as well, either by color stickers or by using colored envelopes. In this way, each color will denote a different expense category. Then it's time to fill these envelopes with cash, according to the amounts as per step 2. If you get paid twice or 4 times a month, just divide by 2 or by 4 accordingly. These are now your budgeted expenses for the month. How to implement it? Putting it into action is simple. This is a cash-only budget method, so you can only spend the cash that is in each particular envelope. For example, if you have $100 remaining in your groceries envelope, then that's all you can spend for the rest of the month at the supermarket. As we mentioned earlier, you can't transfer money from one envelope to another. This really imposes self-control and ensures that you stick to your budget. What about online spending? Online purchases can be accommodated as well, but there are further steps. One good way to do this is to take the cash out of the envelope as you spend it online. That cash should then be deposited back into the account that was used for your online purchase, for example, your credit card. This way, your cash envelope system is still balanced and your digital spending is kind of translated into cash. However, if you're new to this budget, try to stick to cash purchases if possible, as that is the most straightforward way. The more steps there are and the more complicated it is, the less likely you are to follow it. If you have money left over in your envelopes at the end of the month, give yourself a pat on the back. It's not easy coming under budget, and it's definitely something to be proud of. You could either reward yourself with an indulgence, or put that cash to savings or your emergency fund, or roll that cash forward into next month's budget. Try and turn this into a habit, and your finances will slowly but surely improve. Like all of the many different types of budget methods out there, the cash envelope method has its plus points as well as its negative points. Here's a quick summary of the key items to think about before you consider implementing this. Pro number 1. Straightforward. At its core, the cash envelope system is pretty simple. You can only spend as much as you have in each envelope. Once that's finished, no more spending on that expense category for the month. It's literally spend only what you have. Pro number 2. Forces discipline. This method forces you to stick to your budget. You have to reach into your envelope to spend each time you need cash for a particular expense. And there's no swiping of a credit or debit card. It's a great way to bring your expenses under control if you feel that you've been overspending. Pro number 3. More careful spending. Buying things online and using credit or debit cards makes it easy to overspend, as it's so easy to buy things with just a couple of clicks or a swipe of a credit card. Cash spending, however, is tangible, as you actually see the money leave your wallet or your envelope. This automatically makes you think twice about how you spend, and gives you a chance to think a lot more carefully about your purchases beforehand. Because physical cash doesn't come as easy as credit and debit cards, you'll be less likely to overspend, as you'll be using cash as it becomes depleted. Con number 1. Carrying cash around can be dangerous. It's riskier to have more cash on you, as it's certainly possible that you may lose it. This is as opposed to a credit card that can easily be cancelled by calling the bank. One way to help with this is to try to limit the envelopes that you bring out with you. For example, don't bring the clothing envelope out when you go grocery shopping. This limits how much you carry on you, which can be safer, and also helps you avoid the temptation of dipping into your other envelopes to cover shortfalls. Con number 2. Missing out on credit card rewards. One nice feature of credit cards is rewards points or cashback. You can earn rewards for spending that translate into either redeemable points or a cash refund. However, by sticking to a cash-only system, you will miss out on this. It's not all bad though. By avoiding your cards, you could be saving on interest payments that you would have otherwise incurred from overspending. So you're probably coming out ahead overall. Who would this be suitable for? This is one of the simplest and at the same time one of the most rigid budget types. As such, it would probably make sense for anyone who wants to really take firm control of their finances. Impulse purchases will be kept to a minimum or even eliminated, because the cash in your predefined envelopes is the only way to purchase something. It's also friendly to budget newbies because it's easy to understand. It's a good first step towards building spending discipline, which is an important trait to have, especially with other, more advanced budgets. In conclusion, this is one of the simplest yet most effective methods of budgeting. The idea is that you have an envelope for each item that you'll be spending money on, and you put the appropriate amount of cash inside for each expense. Overspending is also eliminated as long as you make sure to only limit yourself to the amount in each envelope. Sticking to a cash-only system of living can certainly help a person or a household calm the chaos of their money, and the cash envelope system is a great way to get started. I hope you got some useful insights from this video. Give us a like and subscribe if you did, and see you next time on Money by Sunny.